I will let you know when we live.
Yeah,
Woo.
I can't.
this is gonna be a good one tonight.
It is. This is going to be hilarious.
I'm gonna be
And
on
I'm
my.
so
Oh.
glad that we started a whole hour before they did. Man, wait, I don't see us live yet, Pastor. Hold on. There we go.
Oh. We need to cover them.
Okay, we are live. We are live.
Awesome, awesome, awesome.
Oh.
Hey guys, how y'all doing? Thank you for tuning in to yet another Monday night special at the lounge. After the service, it's the after party. Hey, we're here. One Accord is here. We're here with our pastor Terrell Munger, and we're here with Miss Minister Candace, who served us a great message on yesterday. So we'll be discussing that on tonight. But for right now, guys, we want you to like, comment, let us know that you're here, share, tag somebody. This is going to be one interesting conversation. But we're so excited to have it with you guys and have you guys join the lounge with us today. So, guys, if you would just go ahead and like, comment, and share. And Pastor, do you have a few words that you would like to say while we're giving some people logged in?
Yeah, I'm outnumbered today, but I hope my pastor privilege will allow them to be nice to me on today. But I want to say, in all honesty, though, and just as serious as I possibly can, Minister Candace, you brought out some powerful points in your message yesterday, and it kind of ties into some of the things that we were joking about before the call started. And I ain't gonna go too far, but when we got to the difference between covering somebody and covering up some stuff, that's fine. But I'm not gonna get ahead of myself. But let me just say, I'm excited to have this conversation tonight.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes, Miss Minister Candace, do you have any few words that you would like to share before we get started?
It's always interesting how God downloads into you.
Mhm.
The topic just came, and the story, I just started thinking about Noah. And I looked up the passage, read it again, and something about it just hit me different. I'm like, wow. We focus on Noah being drunk when we typically hear the story, but never really about what it meant for what his son did to him, leaving him uncovered.
Yeah, that's good.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So yesterday's message was called "Yes, baby." So yesterday's message was called "Cover Me," and so I forgot exactly what scripture you came from yesterday. Was it Genesis
It was
9?
Genesis 9.
I
Yeah, I
think.
referenced a lot of the scriptures in that, but particularly the part where it talks about Noah and his sons.
Okay, let's, if you would just go ahead and give us a preface of what you spoke about yesterday, and then we'll go ahead with the questions.
Okay, so in the story, Noah, they had just gotten off the ark, says he planted a vineyard, he made some wine, and he drank some of it. Noah got drunk, and Noah passed out in his tent. When he passed out in his tent, he was naked. One son walks in and sees him, and instead of the son covering him, he went and told his brothers. His brothers, however, put a cloth up to their back, went in backwards, and covered their father. They didn't look at him, they just covered him. When Noah found out about it, the son of Ham, who was the son who left him uncovered, was cursed, but the other two sons were blessed. And sometimes in life, we find ourselves in situations where people that are close to us, that we expect to cover us, leave us naked and exposed. But other people will take the time to make sure that we are covered. And we'll probably get into it, but we also talked about the difference between a covering and a cover up.
Yeah. Yeah, and in that, when you first talked about that piece, and as many times I read this, I'm telling you, you had my wheels turning. But it is funny how he cursed his son. Maybe he cursed his son because he wanted Ham to see what it feels like to have a cursed son. I
Yes.
want you to experience the disappointment in your child that I'm feeling in you. You know, and
Right. Because early in the passage in Genesis 9, it talks about how God blessed Noah and his sons, and God made a covenant with them. So when Noah was upset, Noah didn't go against the covenant God had made. He cursed Ham's son, Canaan. And in that, sometimes we have to think about the impact that our actions have on our children, because Noah was, I'm sure, embarrassed. So now, Ham, you get to see what it feels like for somebody you love to suffer, for somebody you love to be kept out of what should be theirs. You left me there embarrassed. You could have covered me and nobody ever knew about it. But now watch when your son is serving your brothers and your brother's children. That's a hard lesson.
yeah, yeah. And we deal. Go ahead.
No, no, no. I was just going to touch on the first thing that you mentioned as far as proximity doesn't mean protection. Because that was cold when you said that. So discuss what that means, because like you broke it down in such a way of when people are we can be surrounded by so many people, and people who we think that love us, or we know for sure they love us, but they not be well equipped to just really protect us the way God will have us to be protected in the moment like of weakness that Noah had, or like you said, in a moment of weakness that we will have, and then we'll be naked and left and exposed to somebody who didn't know how to handle us in our weakest moments. So I think just that when you start off with that statement alone, proximity doesn't mean protection, it really made the wheels turn, like I'm pretty sure with Pastor and everybody else, as far as not only with other people that I may be in close proximity to that may not be able to protect me, but with me being in close proximity with God, am I protecting his name and protecting his honor and protecting the love that he gave me? So you said so many powerful nuggets, but I'm gonna let Pastor go ahead and mention what he was getting ready to say.
Yeah, no, what you're saying, that was so powerful about those in close proximity don't necessarily protect you, because check this out. Not anybody could have had access to go into Noah's tent. Everybody doesn't have access to your private self, to the person you're still struggling with, to the person you're still trying to mature in. And people who have access to your personal space have to be the people that's willing to protect and cover you while you grow up in certain areas. We all say, well, nobody's perfect. Well, since you know nobody's perfect, can you be patient while I deal with my imperfections? I may be good at so many other things. And this is the thing, Minister Candace, that really, really fired me up. Noah had went and got wood. He had went and built a ship. He had dealt with people laughing at him. He went and got all these stinky animals. He'd been locked up in it. After I got through all of that, can I at least have a drink and recover without you making me look bad?
Right. And we let people in our lives who we think have our best interest in heart. Sometimes through relationship, sometimes we just inherit people. They're close to us because they're related to us. Sometimes it's people who we develop relationships with. But you have to consider, especially with your role in life, like you as a pastor, everybody can't handle you as a person. And you can't allow everybody that access, because you're not any better than the next person, but God has called you to a specific something. And because of that, even though you're human, everybody can't handle that. And we also have to be mindful that just because somebody's walking with you doesn't mean they have your best interest at heart. So one of the other things I talked about was everybody can't handle your humanity, and some people are waiting to expose it. And that's why we have to be mindful, whether it's relational proximity or physical proximity. Proximity does not equal protection. Just because you are close to me does not mean that you truly care about me and have my best interest at heart.
Yeah. That part that you said, everybody can't handle your humanity. I'm going to tell you, and this is not a story. Matter of fact, I'm going to tell a piece of the story, okay? I'm not going to tell it all. but I met Wes Morgan before he got big.
Mm-hmm.
And the way I met him wasn't the Wes Morgan who had a hit record out and who was prophesying to people and all of that. But I was able to see the Wes Morgan that was still growing and still respect and receive the one that had grown up.
Mm-hmm.
But the person that was with me when I saw the Wes Morgan that was still becoming said Wes Morgan is fake. You remember when he did that? No, he wasn't fake. To whom much is given, much is required. So when God started to build him up, he started to live up to what God had called him to. I can't do this no more. I can't hang out with this no more. Just because you saw somebody in their development stage doesn't mean you can judge them in their delivered stage. We're all growing. And that's what I liked about that. Everybody can't handle your humanity, even though we know we all growing. I'm not the same person I was a year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. And a mistake I made 18 years ago shouldn't still indict me. It's criminals who have murdered people that don't serve 18 years. So can I at least grow into a different person without you judging who I used to be?
Oh, yes.
That was one of the points from yesterday, that
indictment.
I don't want my past mistakes to be forever indictments.
Yes.
They are lessons for me. I grew through that. I changed through that. I'm not that same person. And a person who covers you won't hold you to that. Yeah, I did it. Yes, it happened. Okay, I'm a different person. God changed me through that. God allowed me to grow through that. God transformed me. And because of the things I did or experienced, I can help somebody else to either not do it or to come through it when they do it.
Yes, 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 yes. Ooh, that was powerful. You said so many powerful nuggets yesterday, especially when you touched on the vulnerability that we lack sometimes or try to keep. Scratch all that. When you talked about cover, it's a difference between the cover up and the covering. And I thought about Adam and Eve and how they knew that they went against what God told them to do, but they tried to cover it up, which made it even the worse. And it's like we get ourselves caught up in so much mess when we try to cover up something that God had already seen. He already knew this was going to take place. He already knew what your weaknesses were. He already knew what you was going to fall short of. But then you try so much to cover it up by telling this one white lie, and this white lie becomes a black lie, and that lie becomes bigger and bigger. And then before you know, you didn't hurt this person and you hurt that person. And I'm only telling them myself, this is the God on this truth, but this is the things that happen. So touch on that as far as how you broke it down, as far as allowing God to do the covering and not us doing the cover up.
So Pastor was about to explode. So before I go, Pastor, go ahead. What were you about to say?
No, when you were talking, Miss April, it reminded me of when the woman was caught in the act of adultery. Mm-hmm. That's why Jesus said, he who is without sin, let him cast the first stone. In other words, I want y'all to see, y'all got some stuff too that y'all covering, but y'all won't cover her. And then he said to the woman, even though I covered you because they didn't cover you, I'm still not going to cover it up. I'm still going to say, baby, don't do this no more. You see how embarrassed you feel? You see how ostracized you feel? Please go and don't do this anymore. I'm going to cover you, but I'm not going to act like it wasn't wrong. It was wrong. And if you stop doing this wrong stuff, you don't have to be ashamed and feel like you got to let these men talk to you like that when they got some stuff inside of them too. So please try your best not to ruin your own conscience and get yourself together.
That's good. My grandmother used to say, you might as well tell the truth, because when you lie, you have to tell another one to cover that one up, then another one to cover that one up. And then you got to keep up with all the lies that you have told.
Yes.
Well, when we talk about cover up and covering, you think about how you say your partner in crime. So you go do something. Now, you want me to help you hide the body. But if you get caught or they find the body, we both getting in trouble. Everybody is still going to know what you did. But maybe I can step in before you commit the crime, or once you do, no, let's figure this out. This was self-defense. You didn't do it. But with a cover up and a covering, one of the biggest points that was made was that a cover up enables and a covering empowers.
Yes.
When you acknowledge your wrong, it's freeing and it keeps you from making the same mistakes over and over again. But when
Can
you
we take
cover
a
up,
step?
go ahead.
Can we take a step? The point you're making, there are so many examples of it going on right now. And for those that are watching, you can Google it. I'm free to talk about it if they want to talk about it, but that's fine if we don't. Bellevue Church is caught in the middle of a cover-up for some people who did some sexually immoral things, and they covered it up. Now they paying. Memphis Shelby County school system is in the middle of paying for a cover-up, some stuff that was going on. But you said the key thing, if you cover up your friend, when the body is found and you go to court, both of y'all just as guilty. The person who did it and the person that covered it up. So all of those people who didn't do it in the school system, who didn't do it in Bellevue Church, all those people are finna get in trouble because they covered up what they could have cleaned up.
Yes.
The Bible says the light cleans it up. The light cleans it up. If you would have handled it right then, that may have been the only person they ever molested, and they could have got themselves together. But since you covered it up, they molested a bunch of people. Because you covered it up, he slept with a bunch of people. But if you catch it at the first offense, maybe the penalty won't be as hard. But since you cover it up, y'all finna do some time now.
Right, and catch it and deal with it. Because some people can leave us just exposed and open. But talking about it is not necessarily exposure, if that makes sense. If somebody calls me on something, they're not exposing me. They're not putting me on blast. They're acknowledging and I'm agreeing, yes, I made this mistake. That's when you cover me. When you can call me on my wrong, when you can point out to me what I've done and you can help me through it. If I go on social media and say so-and-so did this and did that, and I put all their business out there and I hadn't talked to them, that's when you expose.
Yes.
And I may not snitch on you, but I ain't gonna lie for you either. So, bro,
that's it. That's it.
I ain't gonna snitch, but if they ask me,
I'm telling you.
Hey, I'm gonna sing like a hummingbird. No.
I need my bathroom separate from where I sleep. Anyways, but yeah, when you think about that, you should have people in your life who will make sure that they're not helping you in your wrong. That they are. Noah's sons didn't deny that he was wrong. They didn't try to pretend like it didn't happen. They just made sure that he wasn't left open and exposed. Ham, on the other hand, nobody may have ever known. But Ham pointed it out to his brothers. And imagine how Noah, you are one of the greatest men ever. You saved mankind from destruction. And I make this little call, and then you do this to me. See, when you in a covering, you allow a person to take accountability for what they've done. But when a cover up, it avoids responsibility. And you're not helping that person. And like you said, if you cover it up, it's going to hurt somebody else. The Catholic Church and all that molestation, the family person who did XYZ that everybody covers up. How is that affecting somebody else? Those are the things we have to think about. Yeah. And if you are the one doing the cover up, you're just as guilty.
And you brought up a great point. And Ms. April, let me know if we have any comments, because I do want people to comment and question if they need to. But you brought up a point. When the other brothers came in to cover him, they didn't even want to see it. These are the people who act like they try to help. If you act like you try to help and still gossiping, you still ain't covering. So if you gonna help, don't talk about it. Yeah, I saw them do it, and they doing this, and they better be glad ain't nobody found out. You still not doing your job if you still talking about it. But check this out. But when Noah woke up, he knew what had happened. So in other words, once you're sober, let me talk about your drunk state. Once you're sober, now I didn't judge you while you were drunk. I didn't judge you while you were falling out. But let me tell you what really happened at the club. Let me tell you, did you notice your shirt was missing? Did you realize one of your shoes was gone? Let me tell you how that happened. I'm not going to mess with you while you're drunk. Baby, when you sober up, we going to have a conversation because you embarrass me, you embarrass you. I don't want you to look bad, but we can have a conversation while you sober about what you did in your drunkenness.
And I'm having the conversation with you and not with everybody else. That's the difference. See that? I'm not out there telling everybody, girl, he was so drunk, and oh, I looked over and oh my God, he didn't have this on. He did. Oh, and this is what he was doing while he was drunk. No, I'm saying to you, when you wake up, you know what you did now. This happened. Just in case somebody say something, you know, you did do that. But at the end of that chapter, it talks about Noah went on to live a very long life. And by long, it was a long life. So we have to remember too, we don't have to hide our mistakes. God is not going to strike us down because we made a mistake. Noah making that mistake in that moment did not take away from the great things he had done. And he also went on to live that's the chapter where it talks about be fruitful and multiply. He had children, he had descendants, and his life was long. His mistake did not take away from who he was. But just imagine that a cover-up had happened, and then it became this big thing, and he was on CNN and Fox News and all this. Noah, the builder of the ark, was drunk and naked last night. No.
It wasn't a scandal.
It was not a scandal because his older sons covered him.
And let me say, and I want to say it as simple as possible because it's been on social media. So I'm not exposed to something that people hadn't already been talking about. But this last situation that John Gray got caught up in, I kind of like the way the guy handled it. The guy didn't act like it didn't happen, but he told John Gray, you need to have a conversation with your church about what really happened to you. You need to expose what's really going on inside of you so people will know, and it'll help you. John Gray got up at church the next Sunday. He went into detail about he was sexually molested as a child. He did a Facebook Live and talked about how graphic and horrific it was. So the dude who is known for exposing people, he's known for putting people on blast, he didn't expose John Gray. He gave John Gray an opportunity to tell the story in such a way because his act was not as egregious and bad as what he had done in the past, but being a pastor, people would look at it a certain way, but he gave John Gray an opportunity to talk about it. And I think that's accountability. I'm not going to expose you, but you need to walk in your truth so you can stop leading people in the wrong direction.
But that's one thing you said to us over and over again. I'm going to tell on myself before you get a chance to do it. And that's why we're talking about other people covering us. We have to cover ourselves. We have to make sure we're prayed up. And if I've made a mistake, I need to own up to that mistake. Because me being transparent or vulnerable, as April was speaking on, will help somebody else to say, I don't have to hold myself to that mistake I made. And I'm telling you about it so you can learn from it.
Absolutely.
And I have been to the point where, and I'm glad, I try to be as transparent as I can. Of course, I ain't going to go into the gritty details, and no, I'm not going to do that. But I am going to talk about it. And people used to tell me, stop talking about it. You talk about it too much. No, I want people to understand redemption exists. You don't have to be perfect to serve God, but you just have to be honest about your imperfection. He does not want perfection. He wants effort. He wants you to do your best to live worthy. Ain't that something that the word says? Do your best to live worthy of the calling which you receive. He didn't say, I now don't make no mistakes. I now don't get nothing wrong. He said, no, as long as you're doing your best and you can confess your faults, the blood, he's faithful and just to forgive you.
And I think that's, as Christians, we forget about that a lot because we feel for some reason we have this imagery that Christians has to be perfect. That there's no room for error. There's no room for imperfections. There's no room for any of the things that we've dealt with in our past once we said yes to God. But the thing is like that's when we're tried the most. Like God, he doesn't, it's not necessarily like, okay, God, wow, God is allowing these things to happen to me, but he's allowing your life to be an opportunity to be used for his glory. Just for David, just for Noah, just for anybody in the Bible, it's full of mistakes. I can't stress that enough. The Bible is full of mistakes, but it's also giving you opportunity for you to be able to be free, be vulnerable, be transparent, and come to God. God, created me a clean heart, renew the right spirit within me. That's all that he keeps announcing throughout the entire Bible. So when Minister Candace was having this message yesterday, all I kept thinking about is that, for one, how the leader of this house has taught us to have accountability, how you're displaying it by saying it, Minister Candace, by giving us a message, and then also just doing a self-reflection within ourselves, that this is what we've been taught, to own up to our own mistakes and to allow other people to know that it's okay. What you see right now before you is not who has always been this way. I've lied, I've cheated, I've done some things that I can't discuss, and I probably will never discuss. I probably take it to my grave. But at the end of the day, there is a God who still loves me and knows my heart, and all he's looking for is my effort. He is looking for your yes. That's what's most important. And if people can just hold on to that instead of thinking like, well, now that I've been called, I cannot do any wrong. Bull.
Right. Because even with Noah, it talks about how he was blameless. But I love how you talked about the Bible is full of flawed people.
Yes.
There was not a perfect person in the Bible. The only perfect person that walked the earth was Jesus. But what just hit me in this moment, everybody who did something great in the Bible was an imperfect person, was a flawed person, messed up at some point. And even the people God encountered, Jesus encountered, that were flawed, he offered them deliverance.
Yes.
He condemned any person to hell. When he met the woman at the well and talked about all her significant others, because he said, the one you with is not your husband. He did not tell her you were going to hell. She went back and took the message. He gave her that grace in that moment. So she was worthy of being mentioned, even though she had been through all these men. She didn't even believe in Jesus at the moment, but she had a personal encounter. Your personal encounter with Jesus can make a difference in your life.
Let me ask you one question, Miss Candace.
Uh-huh.
We got 2 minutes, but I gotta ask you this question because I need any preacher, anybody that's speaking. Every time a person speaks, they get home and say, man, I wish I would have said this. Did you have a I wish I would have said this moment?
Yes. Yes. I was thinking about a lot of the message, like, I should have gone deeper here. I should have gone deeper there. One of the things was, when you're the first person to learn a secret, or when you learn something about somebody, what do you do with it? How do you handle that? So when we think about covering people, we have to think about, because people tell their good friend who end up telling their good friend, and the one thing that was confided in you has gone here and there. What do you do when you're giving information that shouldn't be shared? How do you hold that? How do you cover a person even if you don't care about the person? Even if I don't like you or love you, can I find it in myself to cover for you, to cover you? And am I free to be uncovered around you, trusting that you're going to cover me?
That's good. And really, it paves the way for your future. You want to be the type of person that they believe they can trust you being around. If you known for spreading lies and rumors and gossip, I don't care how good you can sing. I don't want you on my praise team. I don't care how good you can play the piano. I don't want you in my band. If you known for carrying mess, I don't care how gifted you are. I want you as far away from me as I can get you. So.
And I know we got to go, but even if you fall out with a person, keep that person covered.
Yes.
Keep that person
Yes.
covered.
Yes. Man, like I said, you really that was a one powerful one, very calculated, very on time message that you spoke on yesterday as far as cover me. Because I keep thinking about that song. I think me and you discussed it before. It's by 2103.
Cover me.
I need you to cover me so that I can go in peace. So,
Yeah, remember to keep me lifted that I might go in spirit. Keep my name on your lips as you pray. Remember this. I need you to cover me.
yes,
Woo! You should
yes,
the
yes.
sermon with that, cause you know.
Yes, but guys, we could go on and on for about this conversation about this message of Minister Candace. It was, like I said, it was very on time, because even more so now than ever, then we need to know and need to understand what covering looks like, to cover each other and to pray, cover each other with love and peace and just forgiveness. And like you said, whether I know you from the know you, or you just somebody I just met, but once we have that encounter with God, it's like when something is sacred, when you see something that's happening before you, that you know that person needs just a little bit more attention, a little bit more love, a little bit more covering. God it's amazing how he just moves, and he's like, this is the moment that's sacred that I need you to hold on to really just cover and not just expose or leave them exposed or leave them for somebody else to really ruin the next 10 years of their life because they was mishandled. So yeah, it was just very on time. Pastor, do you have any last minute words?
Awesome. That's it. That was my last 3 words.
Thank y'all. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, guys. If you are tuning in, thank you for tuning in for us for another episode at the lounge. After the service is the after party. Please feel free to join us every Sunday at 10:30 a.m. at 4741 Winchester Road at One Accord Ministries. We welcome you with open arms. I promise you, once you come, you will not leave the same. And it's just been a pleasure having us join us tonight. Please share with this conversation if somebody needs to hear about the specialness and the timeliness in covering each other in such a time like this. So guys, we will look forward to seeing you guys next Monday night at 6 o'clock, and I hope